Le pigeon voyageur, un oiseau formidable qui revient toujours chez soi, facile, c'est pas difficile de s'en occuper, il faut simplement un peu d'espace. Et une fois qu'on est dans ce système, c'est difficile de s'en séparer. Ce qui fait que moi, ça fait 55 ans que je m'occupe de pigeons et j'ai l'intention de le faire jusqu'à mes derniers jours.
Hi, greetings and welcome back to our channel, Film Express Racing Pigeons and Racing Pigeons for Military Veterans. And we are here in Corpus Christi, Texas with Mr. Francis Garrigues, and he is a member of Beville Racing Pigeon Club. Nice meeting you, sir. And how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Well, thank you so much for letting us visit you, interview here in your wonderful backyard, in your loft. So I just want to ask you, this is my famous question. When did you start racing pigeon?
I was 20 years old, 55 years ago. I was working in a factory in southern Spain, and as part of my studies. And every day I would see somebody coming with a box, and birds would come out of the box, and then he would leave. Finally, I said, "What's the matter with this guy?" They said, "Oh, he's got his homing pigeon. He works here, and he's got homing pigeon." The homing pigeon. I had to know what it was, and I went back to France. I remember I had two birds in my car, which that's not the way to start. But anyway, that's when I started, and I got interested in. Started reading books, and I built myself my first loft back then in France in 1975. I don't know. Yeah.
So you were in France, Spain before, when you were 20 years old?
Yeah, well, I'm French.
Oh, you're French,
I'm
okay.
French, and I was born over there. I came to the United States when I was 25.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've had a loft in here. But before that, you asked me how I started. Mm-hmm. I started with French people, racing a few French races. Listen, that part of the gambling, all I know is that those birds were magnificent. They could do things that you can set them free and that you never lose them.
Yes.
And the race aspect, well, it takes time to learn that, but it's part of it. So I bought myself a clock, which I still have somewhere in the house.
The old clock?
The old clock, yeah.
Is that from France when you were
I bought it,
racing?
Well, no, I bought it, I think, in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I didn't have a clock in France. They probably loaned me a clock.
Okay.
You know, the members of the club.
That's true. So do you still remember the strain of the pigeon that you had when you were?
Well, I'm not so much into that. I know some of my birds are issued from Gordon. Maurice Gordon used to be a flyer here in the States a long time ago. I have some blood from him. The rest, frankly, I don't know. Occasionally I buy a bird or from a guy that does well. Take my chances, but I keep pedigrees and paperwork. But that's kind of my only interest is really to have birds here, let them out every day, enjoy them.
Race in the club, meet new people.
Fellowships over there.
Yeah, fellowship people.
The racing club, of course, that's a good thing too. But my enjoyment is really strictly here.
That is true.
With those guys here. Early in the morning, late in the afternoon. They go out and I clean the loft, change the waters, call them when it's time to eat, and they all fly in, lock them up, and that's it. The next day we start again.
So back in France, when you were flying, do you remember who is your first mentor?
There was an old man, and I think I forgot him, I can't remember his name. He had a big loft about that size, and he's the one who taught me a lot of things. That's how I got started into the maintenance, the feeding, the taking care of the pigeons, and I learned from there. That was a long time ago. So yeah, there was somebody actually.
And then those knowledge that you acquired from France, you brought it here. You continue flying here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's true. I remember renting a house. I lived in New Hampshire there.
Okay.
I rented a house. I couldn't build a loft really, so I built myself a
small loft.
A box about that big, 6 pigeons.
Okay.
They go out every day, and I even flew them. I think I flew them in the 600-mile race. From New England.
Okay.
I was in New England back then, in New Hampshire. And yeah, that's what I remember. But don't tell me how I did. I didn't keep any records.
So back in the day in France, there's no one loft race yet, right? You heard about one loft race, correct? Those kind of racing nowadays.
Back then, we didn't have anything like that.
It's the club racing.
Club racing only, and the club with several clubs, combine, and region sometimes. So you could have as many as 100, 200 loft.
Yeah.
And then, of course, France and Belgium, they have these big international races way down there in Italy and Spain. And I never got to be that far because I came here.
You came. When did you arrive, or when did you migrate here again in the U.S.?
1975.
1975. And then 1975, did you start having a pigeons right away, or?
Yeah, right away.
Right away.
I was renting a house
in New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire, and I had to have some pigeons, even 6, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter.
It's really in your blood.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, from France. I mean, Spain. You went to Spain, you said.
Well, yeah, but I didn't have any pigeons in Spain.
You just saw some people having pigeons, and then you got kind of interested about it.
Yeah, and my father may be responsible too, because shortly before I got into hunting pigeon, he had bought some farm pigeons. We had a house about an hour drive from Paris, a country house, and I remember him buying those farm pigeons. And there was no loft. I guess he let them loose, and they would roost on the roof of the house. So it was the beginning.
It was the beginning.
But
even you move here in the U.S., you continue doing it.
Sure.
And you have a really nice. We're gonna show this backyard later on, and it's nice having a loft here, beach at the backyard. And question, sir. So you are club racing. When do you start breeding your pigeons?
Well, the first year, you immediately, as soon as they're 6 months old, those pigeons get together. I probably let them breed what they wanted, kept some young birds, and with time I started selecting, this pigeon is better than this one.
Okay.
I always had a hard time getting rid of pigeons. We're supposed to be culling every year. You raise your young birds, and then maybe 15%, 20% is worth keeping. The rest should be culled, but I cannot do that. So I've always had this weakness that I keep too many pigeons that don't deserve to be in the loft.
Okay.
Truly. Even though in this loft I have some good birds, some birds that won races. And
do you breed, like match the bird strain to strain, or result? What are your bases?
So basically the results.
The results.
Any bird that wins a race here, I will breed from that bird. Hopefully made it to one bird that has also either a bird that I bought because of their performances, or performances of the birds themselves here in the loft. So I'm not very scientific. I mean, I have records in my computer, everything you want to name it, but when it comes to making a decision, often it's looking at two birds and
What are the basic things that you consider in pairing birds? Aside from the result, you know, you would like to pair them, like, you know, the qualities.
Like this bird here. This bird here is a bird that was given to me by a fellow, and this bird is balanced. Good bones. The vent bones here, they're firm. There's not a big space between the keel and the vent bones. He's got spirit. For some reason, his tail is dirty, I guess.
Because of the rain,
You
most
need to take
likely.
a bath, mister.
Are you into the eye signs?
A little bit, but
Do you
a lot of
believe?
people, you take the beak and you pull it a little bit to see if he fights you. So that's how you show the
That is a strong bird.
fighting. Otherwise, the balance of the bird. You see, this bird just fits in your hand. You don't have to.
Did you just build this loft your own? Are you the only one who built it?
Yeah. Well, I built it 3 years ago. We moved to this place 3 years ago, and I had this one I had at the other place, and I had one smaller than that. Same design. And they work for me.
Can you show it to us? I'm gonna take a.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, let's look here at the front first, then we go inside. This is an aviary. You know, they can get fresh air, they can get out, and when they come back in, they have to go through the traps here.
Is that where the clock located?
That board is neat. That's where they go in. That's where they go out. And if you come closer, you can see the design in there. Pretty, nothing special, just nest boxers.
So this is your flyers loft, and you also breed here.
Well, the old birds. No, the breeders. I have 8 pigeons prisoners in there that
Oh, these are.
I bought them. Or
You don't fly these birds.
No, and those I don't fly. They never go out because I bought them sometimes for some money. But some idea there. I got 4 pairs and that's it.
Only 4 pairs.
And as a matter of fact, at this time of the year, the hens and the cocks are separated, and some hens are already gone from here. Otherwise, they keep laying eggs all the time, and so that's a simple loft. You know, you have a water jug, nothing fancy, except that it's changed twice a day. Some vitamins, maybe medicine. This is what we call the grit, little rocks that they like to eat. And otherwise, they're happy there.
And what is this small loft in here?
Okay, this loft here, I keep my females.
Your females.
This time of the year, I put them together in February. Males and females, they breed for 2, 3, 4 months. And now it's time, comes June 1st, to be separated. So all the females that I have, adult, will be in here. And I have probably about 25. Right now there's about 10 of them in there.
So these are flyers also.
Yeah.
They're not prisoners.
No, there's no prison. There's one prisoner in there. But I know I have a way of keeping the prisoner in and letting the others out. Those are simple little perches. That's how we call them, you know, nest box and perches. That's the way you should keep homing pigeons. Some people have only bars like that. I like a little comfortable size nest box that they can own, and the nest boxes, the big ones, that they can own too, and they become very attached to it. And I'm not going to lose them unless they have an accident. There we go. You want to take a look inside?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is my young birds. I got about 30 of them. All these birds were born a month and a half, 2 months ago, in the spring. And I let them out in the morning for exercise, then they get used to figure out their bearings.
Have they flown already? Not yet.
No, they haven't flown because they're born this spring.
Okay.
I mean, the oldest bird here must be 3 months old. Probably that one over there. Yeah, I can tell by his looks that he's a little older. All those are babies. You can tell by their little faces. Hello, guys. And on this side, well, that's as simple as it is.
And then you have babies in here.
Unfortunately,
Can I show it?
Sure.
Like this one.
Unfortunately, I
have two.
I have too many birds.
You have here.
I got some there. I got
late hatch.
And they were not supposed to happen, but
well, you know what they say, it's not too much, it's not too many for us. And then you even have it at the bottom here.
Hello, guys. On this side, I also have two babies, and they happen to be on the floor. But those are really babies. They're still fed by the parents.
Are these the parents?
No, the parents are
there. Oh, these are the prisoners, right?
No, well, yeah, but those are babies born here, so they're not going to be prisoners.
Oh, okay.
As soon as they're 30 days old,
I mean the parents, some of them.
Yeah, the parents are prisoners. Yeah.
The parents, yeah. This is a nice cock bird here. Do you have a particular, stock bird strain that you keep?
No. Not me. I mean, all the fellows in the club always come up with these names. They're crossing this and that. I have not that much interest. I mean, if the bird performs, it's good enough for me. That's my little N14, I think. No, what is it? Well, anyway, this hen was born in 2021, I think. That's a hen. Hello.
So earlier you showed us some, wings, vent. So what are the things that you consider about the bird? A quality bird that you acquire?
Number one, the results when they're flying.
Okay.
Bird consistently late, we don't want that. It has to score once or twice during the season. So that's number one. Then it belongs here. Otherwise, I don't keep pigeons really that either they lose themselves or I don't want to have them. So all these pigeons have done something good. That's why they're here. And this year, I should have been racing all these birds in this section. It's happening right now. As a matter of fact, we have a race today of all birds. But I'm not participating because I was in the hospital when I should have started the season. So for health reasons, that's my little 712. Well, too bad. That's a good pigeon. If I send him to a race, I know he's going to do pretty much okay. Anyway, that's what it is. I breed from this section and this section. That's for the young birds, and the other loft is for the old females once they're separated from the males.
What year did you build this loft? It's nice.
This loft I built in 2000, I think. Yeah. Now you notice that I don't have any. That's the way I was taught. You clean your loft twice a day. Scrape, scrape, scrape. And this loft is always clean right now, but that's about as dirty as it gets
And you have
before I go back and clean them again.
some babies there. one of the babies is small. I mean, that's most of the time happens. And you have one there in the bottom. We call that squab.
This one I banded yesterday. Little baby. Hello. His nest must have been born a few days after because he's not the same size. Okay.
So how do you feed, like, how many times do you feed them in a day?
Twice a day.
Twice a day?
Around 8:30, 9 in the morning, 6 p.m. And I have, in my garage, I have all the grain that I need. And
how many percent of protein that do you give them?
here, because they have young birds, I'm a little too generous. They should have eaten that, but I know they won't eat until tonight, 6 p.m.
Do you give, like, how many percent of protein?
I have an average probably 12, 13%.
That's the general all year, something like that.
I mix a bag of 10.5 or 11% in a bag of 15, so that in between would be 13. And there's corn, and you cannot see it there, but I can show you over there.
So do you medicate them? Do you do injections with salmonella, those kind of stuff?
Once a year. I haven't done it yet this year, but sometimes in June, July, I'll vaccinate all these birds, all the young birds.
And then how do you keep them healthy?
Well, every day of the week, they get something. On Monday, they get vitamins. Then the water very clean, that must be rinsed every day. The water has to be spotless always. Vitamins on Monday. Well, I cannot describe exactly what it is, but they're products that I buy from in the industry that are good for the health. Probiotics on Wednesday. Acidity on Thursday. That's with either vinegar or a product called, I don't remember the name. Anyway, every day of the week there's a reason to, you just add it to the water and then I repeat that regularly.
And you give them electrolytes, right?
On race day, yeah, during the summer, yeah.
So on the race day, before the basketing, how do you prepare your birds?
Okay, well, these birds are going to be trained starting probably mid-July. Probably, I'll give them probably 10 to 12 to 15 tosses, each time a little further. And once they start coming back regularly, I figure they're ready for the first race. And then I keep training probably 3 times a week during the racing season. So at the end of the season, this bunch here will have been placed in a basket and raised 30, 40 times. That's enough to decide if the bird is worth keeping. You guys mad? And that's it. If they do good, if they get lost, which happens every year, I could say that probably 25% to 30 of these birds will not come back. They'll get lost. And that's fine with me because there has to be a selection somehow.
Correct. So, Francis, what is raising pigeon to you? Why it is important to you?
I don't know. I remember when I was 20, I used to live in Paris in an apartment, and every weekend I would go to the country house. Then I had a pigeon loft about that size. I remember sitting on the floor for 3-4 hours and feeling that I was a pigeon myself. Living, because all these birds they all have a little character, they have personality, and the bigger birds, they have some love, some dislike. It's like a little family of people. And I know I felt happy with them because they're faithful. You let them out, they're not going to go. They come back. They like this place. They come back. You can count on them. I don't know. I've always liked pigeons. So I have other pets, of course. But birds are like, I had a parrot when I was a kid for many, many years. And that bird was like a person.
Yes.
And
And what is your advice to new flyers, like, those new generations that are getting involved in this type of hobby?
well, if they like the competition, they're going to fight competition and they can show they're doing well. And otherwise, keep the pigeons as healthy as possible. Try not to mix them with other pigeons that might give them some disease. And with time, you learn how to treat them when they have a problem. And I don't have too much care. These birds, they take care of themselves. But if needed, I can always give them some medicine. You look at the droppings, for instance, that's an indication of
Healthy birds.
well, I mean, when they're dry like that and round, if I look at that loft, for instance, there's some droppings that I don't like, a little watery over there. That's, it's because having separated the males from the females, they're not eating right and they're upset. So that's what I get.
And that's the indication that the birds are not doing well if there's that kind of droppings, right?
When I come in the morning, all the droppings are, and I clean that, and I can it tells me the birds are okay.
Well, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to interview you, to show your loft. And believe it or not, that we have viewers from Paris, France, from Belgium. I would like to ask you a favor, if you may. Can you, greet them in your French language?
Le pigeon voyageur, un oiseau formidable qui revient toujours chez soi, facile, c'est pas difficile de s'en occuper, il faut simplement un peu d'espace. Et une fois qu'on est dans ce système, c'est difficile de s'en séparer. Ce qui fait que moi, ça fait 55 ans que je m'occupe de pigeons et j'ai l'intention de le faire jusqu'à mes derniers jours.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. That's the only thing I know. Merci beaucoup.